The Supreme Court on 2G operators saying that those telecom companies who did not participate in the bidding process will have to stop operations immediately. That's the big breaking news that's coming in from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court also saying that its earlier order in Feb is not binding on the 900 megahertz spectrum, which is of the superior quality, which means that those companies which are operating in the 900 megahertz the spectrum are not bound by the Feb order. Meenakshi now joining us on the phone with more details. Meenakshi, what are the main features, what are the main points that the Supreme Court has said?
Well, yes, Tina. Essentially, this judgment is about working out a mechanism about those telecom operators which had their licenses cancelled by the February judgment and were continuing in operation on old pricing system, who had not participated in the recent November bidding process. Remember, the government is scheduled to hold another process of auction wherein these operators are likely to participate in the month of March. But this particular order of the Supreme Court has today, clarified a few things, and primarily three aspects have emerged. One, the superior most quality of spectrum, which is the 900 megahertz bandwidth spectrum, is free or independent from the February judgment of the Supreme Court, wherein 122 odd licenses of telecom companies were cancelled. That being said, the court has also clarified today, Tina, that those telecom companies who did not participate in the bidding process in November will now have to stop their operations immediately. And the other important feature of this order is that those telecom companies that have continued to operate after the cancellations of their licenses will now have to pay a higher market price. Now, these have been the main operative parts of the judgment that we are bringing to you. This is specifically this plea was filed before the top court for its consideration on the mechanism to be worked out about those telecom operators who are still operating, have had their licenses cancelled, have not participated in the bidding process, whether or not they should be made to pay a higher market price. Back to you.
So now, Meenakshi, as you said, this is basically the mechanism that needs to be worked out. And as you're telling us, the companies that are continuing to operate even after the Supreme Court had cancelled the 122 licenses without participating in the new bidding process in November 2012. So which are these companies that are going to be affected? And also you talked about that superior spectrum, which is the 900 megahertz. What company is therefore basically, not bound by this judgment?
Yes, Tina. There are certain telecom companies like Tata Telecom, Systema that had not, participated in the recently concluded November bidding process. They for sure will feel the pinch of this particular clarification or ruling of the Supreme Court, if you will, wherein the court has today abundantly made it clear that either A, they pay a higher market price till the final auctioning of the government, concludes in the month of March, or they stop operations immediately. That the court is very clear about. Alongside the superior quality spectrum, really, that encompasses a lot of major telecom players in the market currently, like Idea, Vodafone, Airtel. They all have a stake in the 900 megahertz superior quality spectrum, with the court clarifying that that particular bandwidth of spectrum is free or independent from the February judgment. Clearly, that will come as a relief or a respite for these major telecom players who have a stake in the 900 megahertz bandwidth spectrum. So, two important highlights that emerge out of this ruling. One, Supreme Court clarifying that the superior most spectrum of 900 megahertz out of the purview of the February judgment, because the court is clear that that was pertaining to not the 900 megahertz. And secondly, those telecom operators who are still operating without paying a higher market price will now have to pay up.